Okay, good evening and welcome to our new Monday night online work discussion. We're pretty excited about what is about to happen, and I want to offer some thank yous right off the bat to Sammy and Mike Beach in particular, Alex for helping to coordinate this. They put in many hours of focused effort as we begin to start our online work program for Democracy Delivered. And what does that mean? We're going to leverage the amazing capabilities of a number of our constituents on a voluntary basis, ask them what they enjoy doing and are willing to do for some extra income, and then advertise those skill sets, throughout different sites, and then pull the work back through. We're going to do the work to advertise those skill sets so the members and participants are not overwhelmed by that. And then we're going to enter into a process by which they complete it. So we got the idea originally a long time ago. And then as I began to interact to seek some support for Democracy Delivered from another company to do our social media accounts, we were surprised by the invoice, and I thought that we could do that. So over the past couple of weeks, Mike Beach has been in the brain trust, so has Sammy, to begin to design our offering, and you're beginning to see the beginning of that. So over time, I think this will probably represent hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue to this entity. I know that sounds like a large number right now, but it's going to help really blossom our interface in a unique way. So when you log into your dashboard, you'll see your social portal. You're going to see your dashboard itself. You will see options for the virtual mall, and relatively soon, if you are interested, you're going to see a focused discussion about the online work process, which is continuing. So, all right, there you go. I'm going to turn it over to Mike. I'm going to do some light introductions. We focused. Mike Beach actually did our first official work for the company. He took a $5 photo, and I purchased it through Fiverr, which is another third-party company that offers everything that you might imagine related to personal work efforts that folks would be interested in buying, from a photograph to a picture of the sand, the videos that I created with some help earlier. And Mike has got that up on the screen here in terms of some of the gigs. So we bought that. He understands that financial transaction, and he'll talk about that here in just a second. So Fiverr gets a lot of eyes. We're going to outsource the cost and the effort and the payment processing to them, and then we're going to manage the work on our side of it for quality control and focus. So Mike, you're going to lead that effort. I will turn it over to Mike. Mike, are you ready to go?
I am.
All right, to you, good sir.
All right, guys. Well, welcome. And hello.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening tonight. An introduction to online work is a simple thing. Online work can be lots of things. It can be managing a website. It can be editing a paper. It can be tutoring somebody. So there's lots of different areas. Is that me hearing my own echo, by the way? You guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine, Mike.
All right. It sounds like I hear an echo going. Hey, Mike, is that you, Moyers? Is it? Anyway, so online work can take a lot of different looks. Now, we're going to try to offer some of that, as Mike said. We're going to start off with social media management. But first, we're going to use what Mike said, the Fiverr portal. So let me just show you what that looks like. When somebody submits a job to us eventually online, or we decide to offer a particular service, we'll then advertise it here. And that could be anybody of our constituents. And we have a lot of talented people who can. Yep, thank you for that, Mike. I hear something. I thought it was my own echo. Anyhow, we can advertise any gig right here on our Fiverr account. And then, as you can see, these are the 2 gigs, which aren't sincere, just to help understand the process. Then we get a response rate, whether it's delivered on time, how quickly we respond. And then at the end of the day, Fiverr collects their money, and you can see But this was done, I think, about a month ago, Mike, on the 9th. Well, there you go, November 10th. So, or sorry, November 9th is our payout, October 24th. So less than a month away. It's still pending clearance, and they've taken $1. That was originally a $5 purchase. So initially, what we're going to do is be able to offer the services of our constituents onto the workface of Fiverr, and like Mike just said, let them manage the money, and we'll just manage how we're going to get that money to them and the amount. Because as you can see, if Fiverr takes $1 off the original $5, that leaves us with already $1 less. So we need to come to some agreement on that. But then we're going to design our own web page, which looks like this. And this is going to be the first gig that we're going to offer necessarily, which is going to be online social media management. So our page is still in work, but it'll look something like this. These are the things that we'll do. We'll hope to create, because social media management begins with relevant content, which is brand specific, engaging, customized, and original. And again, this is just one of the jobs that we're going to offer. And this is the web page that Sammy's been working together. We all have been to help get it together. We're going to engage your followers. This is social media management. We're going to help grow your business. That's the whole point of it. Use our expertise. And then we try to drive people into the Democracy Delivered website, as you can see at the end, because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do, is also build our own constituency. So social media management is something that Mike has dabbled in a little bit. And there's a company out there already called Social Media Management, and they can barely keep up with their own demands. So we're going to be doing something very similar. As Mike said, he realized the amount of money that we spent relative to what we received, and relative to what we can do ourselves, given the qualities of our own constituents, we can do this. So we decided to make this the first job the first service that we would advertise. Let me say it that way. Now, moving on to item 4, our workforce. If you go to our page at the moment, we have now a browse skills page where people, and that means all of our constituents, that means you, Alex, or you, Sammy, or Mr. Barry, or Mr. Moyers. Greg Bashirs, as you can see on the left here, has put some things in here. Event production, he was a musician. I also worked with iTunes and the PC version of iTunes. So he's offered these services, and we can all add services right here. And that's right on the browse menu. If you drop down, you'll see it under your work skills. You can add them in. They can be verified by other people. Out of that, we can then go back to the Fiverr page and start making offers for serious inquiries. And again, that would look like this. Would be featured here. At the end, when we get paid there, and then we pay the people who actually did the work. At the end of the day, and this is something we'll have to talk about in just a minute, we'll have to figure out who gets how much and when, and how long would people wait to receive their money. So that's a consideration. So our workforce is evidenced by what people have already put online, and what we know already is pretty dynamic, from social media management to waterfront marina management. I think I know who that is, Mike. Am I correct? I feel strongly about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a side comment. So let's go to item 5, liability and management. There's definitely some liability involved here, because because at the end of the day, Democracy Delivered is the one who's going to get credit for all this. And when you get like a quarterback in the NFL, when you win, you get all the credit. When you lose, you get all the blame. So we have to be very careful, and we have to manage, and that's something that I'm going to be doing, and that Sammy's going to be doing. Make sure that we manage the people that we outsource this work to achieve the work in a professional and timely fashion. There's also other liability. What if we don't do a good job? So these are something we're definitely going to have eyes on at all times to make sure the quality of the services we offer is consistent with our ethos, if you like. Just to get it going, what can everybody do to get involved? Well, first thing you can do is go to our Democracy Delivered page. Like I said, pull down the browse down menu, go to work skills, add some skills, then send an email to me or to Sammy or to Mike, and let us know which skill you'd be interested in offering for service online. payment and fulfillment is the other thing that's an interesting part because, and Mike, I'm not sure how we want to cover this, but you can see we still have not been paid from Fiverr for things that happened just about a month ago. So are people going to be satisfied getting paid 30 days after they achieve the work, or did we have enough money to pay them for the job and then wait to get paid ourselves? And that's something we'll have to tackle down the line. But the evolution of this entire process is that one day you will just come to the Democracy Delivered site and we won't have to use Fiverr as a medium. At the meantime, Fiverr's already there. They already handle all this sort of thing for us. They give us a lot of exposure. People already know to go to the site, and we get to learn their process. And by learning that process, we can assimilate it into our website over time. So that was a lot of information in 13 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? Before I keep going, I'll pause just for a second and listen.
Mike, that was an awesome summary, and I'm just going to add a couple other comments in there. But as we looked through Fiverr, we saw everything from education services and support to resume writing to college application support to tutoring for math to review of business proposals. So I think so many of the professionals that are on the phone right now could do a lot of that, on their own terms. You also want to factor in that by doing that, you're as a premium member, and as I look down the list, most of the folks are premium members that are on this list. You're strengthening the company in such a way, it really has a synergistic effect of continuing to grow this company, because as we advertise that increased capability, now folks can join a whole new entity that didn't exist when we first all joined. So, and then the economic power of that over time is going to be immense. So we will find these niches. We're going to look to provide great support. I also think it's a great way to earn $2,000 or $3,000 a month extra. I say extra, or earn $2,000 or $3,000 a month for some focused management. If you're already using Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, some of those other interfaces, we're going to calibrate ourselves to do so in the most professional manner for others and advertise that. But when I spoke with a gentleman in New York City that ran Agency Social, he's absolutely swamped with requests through Fiverr. He can't handle all the requests, I think, in a reasonable amount of time, so that's good. So I know we had probably about 22 people interested so far. Sammy will be doing some of the work. I will. Mike Beach might. Ruby has volunteered in this particular area, and I think 5 or 6 other folks. So I think it's going to be helpful. The ubiquitous nature of that scheduling is also pretty neat too. So hopefully that clarifies some of our focus. All right, let's see who else. I think we had a couple other folks join at 407-485. Who is that?
That's Michelle Asney.
Hey, Michelle, thank you.
Hi.
Just want to give a shout out to Michelle. She is our wonderful paid-a-tier, half volunteer, half paid individual that will be providing support for anyone that needs help on our interfaces. So thank you very much. That strengthens the company immensely, and we're excited about. She's been a corporate trainer before. Her demeanor is awesome. I've known her for a lot of years. Michelle, I won't say how many, but thank you for your presence. It's great. And who's at 339-788?
No, that's not me. I think I'm 571. I don't know what I am. 189.
Rolly.
Rolly, I'm here. Hey.
Rolly has got the most inquisitive questions. I love it. So welcome. Glad to have you. Rolly and I have.
Hi.
And who's?
Oh, I'm her sister. I just unmuted.
Got it. So you're at 339.
Yes.
Wonderful. Oh, wow. This party is really getting started. We got some great folks on the line. So Rolly and I had a discussion about the academic side of things and where we can assist and when it's beneficial, and when do we draw the line at academic integrity, about some of the services that we offer. I tutored for many years early on, and I certainly know what that meant, and helped provide support for folks for the SAT and PSAT. So we're gonna do everything honorably and ethically and set the highest standards there. So I appreciate some of her feedback,
Great.
early on, which is all right. Let's see. I just want to make sure we welcome everyone who's on the line there. Did I get everyone? I think so. If I did not welcome you, go ahead and speak up. But we can kind of lead a discussion now. It's kind of open discussion about this work reality. And if there are any thoughts, any visions, any directions that you guys would like to talk about?
How about this? Other than social media management, what's another service that you think our constituents would instantly be, it would not instantly, but would be the simplest thing for people to do, other than surveys, which is another thing that we'll offer here over time?
Interesting thought. So there, I don't think we're fully defining the scope of what can be included here. Everything from planning a Christmas dinner or a holiday dinner, to helping to plan a bar mitzvah, to giving some long-term advice to those interested in getting their PhDs. Some discussion.
There goes the liability. There goes our liability.
It's okay. There's always caveats, right?
Caveats.
Always caveats. And in a consultancy, after being in a consultancy myself, there's a lot of ways that we can work through that. So I think that's going to be pretty powerful. I know that, tutoring math is one particular example. Some of you might find that loathsome. Others of us find it kind of relaxing to exist in a very systemic, patterned, processed world. So we'll offer that, across the board. But we've got an immense amount of capital that hasn't really been tapped. And then you can ask yourself on a personal level, well, if I can do this work on my own schedule, deliver it in fine fashion, I have support of other professionals that'll double check it when we need to, and it helps place this company in a good position. I think it's a pretty advantageous position to be in. Also, as you go through job transition, a number of us are over the age of, let's say, we're middle-aged, but we all face certain realities down the line. There are many healthy folks online, and I think we're going to have some pretty interesting realities soon where there's going to be a lot of capable people looking for viable work, and we can do that as well. So good stuff. All right. Any other thoughts out there? Joe, what are your thoughts? I know you got a lot of free time. You can probably give us, 20 hours a week?
Yeah, that ain't happening. As I'm looking at my Alibaba account on the other computer so that I can order materials, yeah, that's not happening.
Joe's a busy person, and I use that as an example. But you can't underestimate his value either. And I picked on him as an example, but he can probably charge about $500 an hour for consultant work in his marine corporate experience. In terms of what type of thoughts and concerns. So if you're developing a product, and Joe has ridden that road pretty hard, which is great, and it's been a successful one, but I would love to get 2 hours of his time if I was also developing, a marine product for sale, because he's gone through a number of processes that are necessary. He can probably, the $500 or $1,000 invested in him will probably save, 20, 30, 40 grand in a mistake, which is good. So Joe, thanks. You can go back to ordering.
Yeah. Yeah, you need patent or trademark advice for a startup? Yeah, call me.
Good stuff. And when it's offered professionally, Joe can do so in a structured manner and then do follow up. But sometimes that type of support is extremely valuable. And I look at names across the board. Alex Anil, as an example, worked in the healthcare industry, processing payments, dealt with insurance issues at a major corporate entity. She has a lot of understanding that could be parlayed into other areas, which is great. And I think each of the names on this phone call could do the same thing.
And Mike, if I could interrupt you right here, particularly since we were talking about Joe. Sorry, Joe, we haven't met to be talking about you like that in the third person, but Joe could offer if your services don't have to be offered cheaply. That's an important thing. Most of the people I've mentioned to about working online say, yeah, well, $5, you know, I can't see doing that. Because the name Fiverr says Fiverr in it, but it doesn't have to be that. We can offer gigs for a couple $100s if we want to. So, Joe, you can charge market rate for your services. You don't have to offer a discount through this venue. That's the point of what I'm trying to say.
Very good.
That's a good point. And I have seen, as you dig around on Fiverr, I've seen, you know, professional services packages, especially for, you know, a couple $1,000s. I mean, I haven't looked to see the results and what the ratings were based on those, you know, those efforts. But I mean, so could I sit on a plane for a 4-hour flight and knock out a Fiverr job for 2 hours of reviewing a startup company's plan to launch a new product? Yeah, I absolutely could do that without a problem. So I was being a little, you know, sarcastic earlier, but yeah, I mean, I think we could all carve out a little bit of time for the benefit of the good, if we make the time. So that's kind of, I'm willing to do that.
And that's just it, Joe. Here's another one of the points that's important. Nobody has to do this, you know. It's just only if you want to do it. For people to want to work online. And of course, we do say that, you know, in Democracy Delivered. That's one of the things you see when you go to our website. How much time do you spend online? Do you want to get paid for that, you know? So it lives up to that ethos. And also, we have surveys and things like that, which Aaron Davenport seems to be really high on. Maybe he can speak to us about that later on, but how much time do you spend online? This is just an option that you have. Nobody has to do it. That's my point.
Mike, I'm going to just borrow your screen for a minute. I'm going to share screen and show you an example. Let's see, I've got it here. So this was the invoice from what would be a competing company that's on my screen, but you know, it's $1,400. So if our company gave up a percentage of that to Fiverr, and then Democracy Delivered took 10% of that, but if you got paid $900 or $1,000 for a period of time to update a Facebook page once or twice every 48 hours, do the same post on LinkedIn, and almost the same post on Twitter, and then engage some of those folks in a very professional way. You're basically checking, you know, these accounts once a day for the period and earning some extra income. And then you can see these on this list, you know, 3 accounts, 4 weeks, 7 posts per week, fan interaction, and that's the first line. But you can see the setup and associated with Twitter and others. None of this is rocket science. It's just, it can be intimidating for folks that are not computer oriented and very time consuming. Now you multiply that by 2 or 3, and you could spend, you know, 2 hours of a day, you know, kind of doing this. And I think you would end up with more than Social Security, in terms of the support. So we're gonna treat this very professionally and really do a great job for our first couple customers, because a number of us are gonna be watching. But that's
Mike, you can't underestimate the value of doing it professionally. Here's one of the problems with Fiverr, and Joe, I'm sure you had this thought. I know at least one of our constituents who's a professional musician had this thought. He said, you look at all these musicians online, for $5 they'll do this, but they're not professionals. But now they've made themselves professionals by going online, and they think of themselves, but look at the quality of the work, they're really not. And that's true, that's a valid point. I started thinking about that. I thought, okay, so maybe Fiverr to some degree can devalue, you know, a certain skill or service by watering it down. So we do have to be very professional in everything we do. It has to be right. We can't offer a service that we can't check up on ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And that invoice, by the way, was discounted by a couple $100 because we had already paid. So it was actually higher than what was reflected there too. So that's one particular example.
Well, yeah, because like you go on Fiverr and they'll do a marketing plan for you, right? And it's $125. But then I go and sit down with a company like Blue Ion, who does all the marketing for Tito's vodka, and you know, have a 1-hour conversation with those guys, and you're talking 20,000 plus. So you're absolutely right on the devaluing of what it is that they offer. And then also, is it just a cookie cutter, a cookie cutter offering to the next the next participant, or, the next paying customer? So yeah, I agree with that whole devaluing thing 100%.
Well, and at the end of the day, our relationship with Fiverr, and I think, Mike, correct me if I misspeak here, but I think our relationship with Fiverr is more of a learning process. So, in time, perhaps within 6 months, perhaps within the year, we won't be linked to Fiverr any longer.
Absolutely. And we're going to study what we like and don't like about them. Also, even if we do offer, let's flip the coin. If we do offer a $5 offering, and we end up having that member join us as a participant or premium participant through the course of normal conversation, and we invite them in, if we create an interface where they log in, to get their product, and then they negotiate our reality and they learn more about us and join, that's extremely powerful too. So we might programmatically plant those type of opportunities to grow our constituency as well. So I think it's it's going to be win-win, because we're pretty proud that our entity is honorable, transparent, focused, and offers value to anyone that might join. So very good.
Right. And to that end, Mike, you can see here on the page that Sammy and I have been working on, under social media management, we have create. Okay. Social media management begins with relevant content, yada, yada. Engage. We engage your followers. Same thing. Growing your business, making a strategy, and then boom, here's the clincher at the end. Right? That's what we were just talking about, I believe.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Here's another example. We use Social Engine, and there have been a number of us that have purchased this software. I would feel very comfortable talking about those experiences, and even interacting with some of the apps that we have. So those folks that are out there looking at the products that we've already bought and purchased could be involved with that too. So, but when you sit back and start to think about what the potential is around some of our offerings, it's unconstrained. And I'm sure that we can put some things on Fiverr that have never been there that folks will absolutely buy. And we will have the resources to feature on Fiverr so when you first log in, some of our more key applications, and I think it's going to be pretty valuable. So we definitely want to create our own Fiverr over time and offer better value than they do. And we could offer discounts to our own participants. Participants enjoying the services of participants for the benefit of the company. And there's a whole range of options there. So good stuff. All right, let's see. Rolly, did we miss anything? You always have great questions.
Or how about this, Rolly? What would you like to see differently on that page?
I don't know. I guess I'm just waiting to see, because I actually never checked out the Fiverr page, so I don't actually know how it works yet. So I'm interested to see. I guess just kind of maybe I should take a look. I don't also because people can go to Fiverr separately from Democracy Delivered. So I'm assuming that. So if someone's looking for services on Fiverr, and then they will see the provider is Democracy Delivered, right? And
well,
then
the way that,
they will.
Sorry, Roland, just to get to your question. Yeah, the way it would work at the moment, that's correct. Mm-hmm. Somebody from Democracy Delivered says they'll perform a service. We then upload that service onto Fiverr. They pay Fiverr, and you're 100% right. They could individually just go straight to Fiverr and put that up. And why wouldn't they do that? Well, the answer is this. One, over time, Democracy Delivered is going to establish. I think I'm sharing my screen. Am I sharing my screen?
No.
Over time, see how we have a positive rating, 100%, response rate, orders completed, delivered on time. These are benefits that we'll manage on behalf of people. So that's one thing that they won't have to think about. The other thing they won't have to think about is managing their money, because we'll take care of that for them and just deposit it into their account. And the other thing they have to consider is particularly if they're a premium participant of Democracy Delivered, is that eventually we are going to move this in-house and they want to be part of a bigger thing. So that matches our ethos, and especially, I think, the ethos of all the people that became premium participants.
Yeah. No,
Good
it sounds
question.
good. Yeah.
It's a good question, and it's one that I asked, was the first question I asked when we started.
Oh, sorry, I missed that part.
No, I don't mean tonight. I mean 10 days ago.
Oh, okay. All right. No, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing. So so this is the call where it hasn't started yet. Is that right? Or
No,
has
it hasn't started yet, but we're about to start. In fact, we have 2 clients already. We have an Italian bistro here in South Beach, and we have a masseuse in Atlanta, Georgia. The difference between the one thing about these 2 businesses is they're both local, but they both suffer from poor social media management, and we're going to help improve that for them. And as a consequence, we're going to do these 2 particular jobs for free for the first month.
Okay.
Our current pricing schedule is going to be a little bit different. If you look at social media, for example, they offer a social starter, a social basic, a social premium, social pro. One of the things we can do is we can offer a monthly rate and then offer an annual contract, which discounts the monthly rate. So we'll look at it differently and see what we can improve, like Mike said. Thanks for that question.
Yeah. What if they come back and they say, hey, you know, I want X number of new customer acquisitions per week based off of the quality of your content? How do you guarantee that? That's what's preventing me from going through a company like this, because there's not that guarantee.
Well, you can't guarantee, and if you look at what Agency Social, which again is similar to the platform that we're going to be offering, what do they actually include? They don't make any guarantees about your business in the business that they're going to, or business increases. They don't make any guarantees. They just say what they're going to do. One of the things that's important is if you look at some of our things here, we need to develop a strategy. They need to approve the strategy before they hire us. They're going to learn about you. They're going to tell us about their brand, you know, for their website. We can't guarantee business, because you're right. That's almost a loser every time. And even if it did improve, people could always say it wasn't what they expected. So we never want to be in a situation where we overpromise and underdeliver.
Who's going to provide the product images? They're going to do it?
Well, yeah, people with their business should provide their own product images and relevant content, their web links, their account access. And then we take that and we move on to program development. And this is right where we're just in the process of finishing this out today. And we actually help devise a strategy for them.
And Joe,
and they don't have to like it. Sorry, Mike.
All those items can be a la carte. So if we need to provide content, provide stock-free images, we can do all that as well. So most of this stuff is simple, not simple, but it's just time-consuming work that people don't have time to do anyway.
Right.
And we're going to just make sure we give people more value than they really ideally have asked for. We're going to go that extra step to make sure. So,
but Joe, your point is valid, and you know I thought about it on a different level. But similarly, what if somebody asks us to review their resume? I give that to Dr. Angus Goldberg. He looks at it. He rearranges it like an academic resume, but they're applying for a yacht job, and they don't get the job, and they hold him accountable, and by default, Democracy Delivered accountable. So there's definitely going to be some system of checks and balances where we have to govern that and make sure that we don't get into a situation where somebody can hold us accountable for under-delivering.
Right.
So let me throw another idea at you guys that you're on the phone, but we have 400 people. Each has about 1,000 Facebook friends, but let's just call it 100 people with 500 Facebook friends. Now that's 50,000 eyes of exposure that we could do. We can also offer these services en masse. So we will promulgate your material in a way that doesn't seem like direct advertising, but we'll indicate it's sponsored in some fashion, and then propagate those out to 50, 60, 70, 80,000 eyes. Would you be willing to do that for a couple bucks, knowing what it can do for the entity itself? And it takes you all of 30 seconds to do that. Some people would consider that prostituting their friendships. Other folks would not necessarily be involved with that. If you look at what Facebook does naturally, they're already prostituting your friendships for you in very interesting ways. But we can probably offer those type of things. Another example is, I saw this on Fiverr. We'll have 30 people call you on your birthday. And I think they were charging $59.99 for that. It's interesting, and we can slide into the more gimmicky things, but sometimes that can be humorous. Another one was a prank process where we'd select one of 3 pranks. You'd call up and do that. So I just show you the full range of different options. Our constituency would probably open over time to look at a whole different number of things, and the Sentinels and Guardians will approve, where our ethos line is. And another one, we'll take a picture of something in 50 different states, and there are amazing things out there. So some of them require about 3 or 4 minutes at a time. Rolly sings, and I think we might be able to, get her a gig live performing art for like a dinner party, and you just put the computer there, and she'll sing, which I think would be great. So.
Except I can't sing to save my life, and this could bring down Democracy Delivered. That bad.
We have lots of good singers on our staff that bring you up. We can bring you back up.
So I'm sure there'll be some really creative things. And then once those occur, we tell our Facebook friends about what we are doing ourselves and give some examples, and it'll just start to grow on itself. Interesting. Let's see if anyone else has joined. I think my cousin was on here for a little bit. He's always so quiet. I think he took off. Okay. Sammy, are we missing anything? You're sitting quietly in the background.
No, you guys are covering everything. In terms of social media, I was going to say, Mike, that's pretty easy for everybody to do or to pick up. That's one of the jobs that we have, actually, the massage therapist from Atlanta. And what Mike's saying about Facebook as well is, it's not, you don't have to send out, most of your friends have some common ground with you and things that they like. So they're going to see posts that you're making, and that's just exposure, if that makes sense. So that's a lot of what social media platforms are, is just constant exposure. And if you can do that, like Mike said, it's really good. It's just time-consuming work.
All right, folks. I know your time is valuable. Mike, did you have anything else that you wanted to cover on this call?
Well, simply this. The 3 things you should take with you. 1, you don't have to do it. 2, you can charge market value. And 3, within our own community, don't hesitate to go to our site and list the skills that you might be interested in sharing. And I'm talking about this page right here. Under the browse menu, under the browse drop-down menu. So please feel free to put it out there. Just because it's here, it doesn't go anywhere else beyond our own community. But it'll give us an idea of who we have.
Okay, fair enough.
Apologize for the hiccups, guys.
How's dinner, Mike?
I'm not actually eating.
I'm just teasing you, I know. Excellent, folks. All right, Todd Berry, can you hear us? I know you've been dropping in and out there. I think he's viewing it, but he doesn't have a microphone, which is interesting. So I'll touch base with him afterwards. All right, guys, we've got, I'll just summarize at the end of the call with a quick brief. We've got Michelle on the line who's providing more support. If you need help with your interfaces, feel free to call her. I worked with Aaron Davenport today on onboarding to help improve our onboarding processes. I had a call yesterday with Stacy and Nell, our Sentinels, about creating the right company culture. I fielded a call from Jessica today out on the West Coast, the smart radio personality and spouse of a Coast Guard officer that is very interested in joining us. So she joined today, and she's evaluating for premium participancy. Mike Moyers and Tim Davidson and Althea are working on our accounting processes, professionalizing those. And there's a call tomorrow night with those guys doing that. I have 3 other premium participant follow-up calls to do this week. I know Mike Moyers is lined up 3 or 4 others. So there's a lot of activity. Wade Nelson, high school classmate, he's developing a marketing plan with Gabriel Avilas, one of our other premium members, to do a video and then let that video process into talking with one of you to bring more premium participant members in. Our Amazon shopping has had a market increase over the last 5 to 7 days. Our average commissions are around $30 a day, which is pretty good. We're almost up to $10 a day to the company. That's with 400 participants and only really 1/3 of those kind of touching the shopping reality. When you propagate that out across 10,000 people, I think that's going to give us between 60 and 70,000 in recurring income for the company. And then salaries start to parlay, and then we build on from there. So there's the last 48 hours have been a whirlwind of activity, and there's pieces I'm missing in there. Let's see. There's a couple other folks I've interacted with that, and it escapes me at the moment, but that just gives you an idea. So we're beginning to gain more and more momentum. We're through another shopping month. We worked with Sammy extensively. She's doing great jobs with verification. And then I think tomorrow we're going to track down non-Amazon expenditures, which is good. Your dashboard should be becoming more accurate. And there's a couple other things. Justin's working on an internal admin dashboard. John Hennigan is working on our iteration list. So these folks are all, 3 weeks ago, we didn't have this type of brain power or capital actually working. And it's exciting in its process. So we are iterating, which is great. I will leave it there and close out the call. I'm going to stop recording now and just stick on the line. So if anyone has any open comments, we'll do that. Thank you very much.
Thanks.